Hi everyone, it's Vicky here. Today I'll be making a Christmas card. You all have to excuse my voice because I have a bit of a cold right now. But anyway, I'll continue talking. Now, this stamp set is by Simon Says Stamp and it's called Home for the Holidays, as well as the stencil, which is also by Simon Says, and it's called Christmas Scene. Now you can cut out the inside of the stencil, and actually this stencil is great because you get the negative as well, but I'm not going to be using, you can see there are trees as well as the scene and the snowbanks. I'll be using the stencil just to draw my snowbanks, and I'm not going to use the stencil with any of the stenciling techniques. So I'll just draw the lines there on a piece of white cardstock using my pencil. Once I'm happy of the placement, I'll just draw the line, and now I'll flip over and I'll draw another line just with only one of the stencils, and then I can use my scissors and cut them out. So using this technique I'll be able to create a scene for my card and actually add dimension. So you'll see how I end up with two pieces which are actually made out of the stencil. I'm just chopping out a part from the bottom of that piece, and for my card I'll be creating a standard card that's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I'll cover up the back with this pattern paper, which is bluish. Now I haven't created the card yet. This is just a white cardstock, but just because my patterned paper is very thin, I decided to stick it on top of a cardstock just to make it more thicker. So I'll try to understand how these two pieces go. It's kind of a puzzle here. So I'm following my stencil there. And there you go, I found out how they go. So I can stick the bottom flat using my glue glider there. I'll stick it on top, and then the second piece I can use foam squares and add a bit of dimension. As always, you can go on my blog and find the full list of all the supplies that I'm using on this card. Now I'll just add the top, and I have a nice dimension there, so I can go ahead and use this pattern paper again to stamp the trees. The set comes with two trees, one tall and one shorter, and I'm going to be using black ink. You can use any black ink actually. I'm not going to color anything. I just use Memento because it was there on my table, and I'm also going to stamp the short one. Once both images are stamped, I'll use my heat gun and make sure that the ink is nice and dry. I'm doing that because I'll emboss later on, and you'll see what I mean. Now the idea is to make these trees as if they were in the snow. So I'll be using this WoW embossing pen as well as my white embossing powder and add some snow on the trees. Here is how it works. I'm using my embossing pen and add some ink here and there. You don't have to be neat. After all, snow on trees is not neat. It's totally random. So I'm now going to add my embossing powder, flip it, and now I think it looks nice. I can also work it out with a nice soft brush, and once I'm happy with the outcome, I can heat set it with my heat gun. I have a little helper with me today on my lap, so he will make an appearance. There he is. That's Ginger, our little kitty. We found him on our yard. He was meowing all day, and once we saw him, we fell in love with him, so we just had to bring him in. He's part of the family now, and he's been with us for the last couple of weeks. So I'll go on with my trees now. I'm heat setting the embossing powder, and once everything is ready, I'll use my scissors and cut out the trees. I actually created a third tree for my card, which isn't shown here, but once I was about to assemble the card, I decided I needed a third one. I'm going to stamp my sentiment now. This is a sentiment by Simon Says Stamp, and it's come from the Inside Holiday Greetings stamp set. It's a nice stamp set that has tons of holiday greetings, and it's really nice for your Christmas cards. I'm using Versamark ink, and I'm going to white emboss it, so I'm stamping it on this piece of red pattern paper. All the pattern papers that I'm using are not from a particular pattern paper collection. They're just scrap pieces from my stash. So I'll go ahead and heat set the sentiment there. Actually, I've used the one that says warmest wishes for a wonderful holiday season. And it's time to assemble my card now. As you can see here, I have 3 trees. The one that I'm sticking down at the moment is actually a second version of the short one, which I've just trimmed out. So I'll go ahead and stick the tall one as well. You can see that I'm using foam squares only at the top, since I already have a dimension on my snow. And this is going to go there. And my scene is almost ready. I'll stick the sentiment at the top. I'm creating a banner out of the sentiment with my scissors, and then I'll use foam squares at the back to add dimension on my sentiment as well. You could call this card done, but you know, I like little details, so I decided to use some small sequins. These are tiny little ones that I'll be sticking here and there to represent the snow. To stick these tiny little pieces, I'll be using tacky glue. I like tacky glue because it dries clear, and you can see I fight with those tiny little pieces, but I decided to use my quick stick, and I'll stick them down here and there. So that will finish my scene, and then all that's left to do is to create my card base. The card base is actually created by red cardstock, and it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. The main panel is just a quarter smaller on each side. So I'm sticking it down, and that was the card for today. I hope you had fun and got inspired, and if you did, don't forget to give me thumbs up on my YouTube channel, as well as leave me a comment. Thank you all for watching.